Civilization is sterilization, I used to say to them. And Strepakok G to Banbury T to see a fine bathroom and WC as though they were children. But of course, they didn't understand. How should they? And in the end, I suppose I got used to it. And anyhow, how can you keep things clean when there isn't hot water laid on? And look at these clothes. This beastly wool isn't like acetate. It lasts and lasts, and you're supposed to mend it if it gets torn. But I'm a beta. I worked in the fertilizing room. Nobody ever taught me to do anything like that. It wasn't my business. Besides, it never used to be right to mend clothes. Throw them away when they've got holes in them and buy new. The more stitches, the less riches. Isn't that right? Mending's antisocial, but it's all different here. It's like living with lunatics. Everything they do is mad. She looked around, saw John and Bernard had left them and were walking up and down in the dust and garbage outside the house, but none the less confidentially, lowering her voice and leaning, while Lenina stiffened and shrank so close that the blown reek of embryo poison stirred the hair on her cheek. For instance, she hoarsely whispered, take the way they have one another here. Mad, I tell you. Absolutely mad. Everybody belongs to everyone else. Don't they? Don't they? She insisted, tugging at Lenina's sleeve. Lenina nodded her averted head, let out the breath she had been holding, and managed to draw another one, relatively untainted. Well, here, the other went on, nobody's supposed to belong to more than one person, and if you have people in the ordinary way, the others think you're wicked and antisocial. They hate and despise you. Once a lot of women came and made a scene because their men came to see me. Well, why not? And then they rushed at me. No, it was too awful. I can't tell you about it. Linda covered her face with her hands and shuddered. They're so hateful, the women here. Mad, mad, and cruel. And of course, they don't know anything about Malthusian drill, or bottles, or decanting, or anything of that sort. So they're having children all the time, like dogs. It's too revolting. And to think that Ford, 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 and yet John was a great comfort to me. I don't know what I should have done without him, even though he did get so upset whenever a man, quite as a tiny boy even, once, but that was when he was bigger, he tried to kill poor Waihusawa, or was it Pope? Just because I used to have them sometimes, because I never could make him understand that that was what civilized people ought to do. Being mad's infectious, I believe. Anyhow, John seems to have caught it from the Indians, because, of course, he was with them a lot, even though they always were so beastly to him, and wouldn't let him do all the things the other boys did, which was a good thing in a way, because it made it easier for me to condition him a little, though you've no idea how difficult that is. There's so much one doesn't know. It wasn't my business to know. I mean, when a child asks you how a helicopter works or who made the world, well, what are you to answer if you're a beta and have always worked in the fertilizing room? What are you to answer?